Welcome to Watercolor Studio 42. The last couple of weeks, well, at least last week anyways, when I was here, I started off with this picture here of kind of a spooky tree. I'm into Halloween apparently, and so today I'm off on another spooky picture. This is a picture I took of well, they call it a castle, but it's an all-stone building, and I guess years ago they had a fire and the place burned down, so the only thing that was left of it was some of the walls, because they were stone, and obviously weren't affected by the heat and the fire. And so that looked like kind of a little bit of a scary picture, especially sometimes when you take a photograph and there's a lot of dark shadows and so forth, and a funny looking tree like this one over here. That was kind of a scary looking tree that I did last time. So another night of Halloween here, and as I was saying before, my children used to enjoy Halloween because they could decorate the woods out and back and have a ghost walk. They really look forward to it. So what we're going to do here is I started off with a little bit of a wash, just put water on, and I put a little bit of my yellow paint into this, and of course just to give it that base color, and then I'm going to start working. Now what I'm going to purposely do today is to do the sky sort of orangey, an orange sky. Now, you won't probably ever see a sky that's quite as orange as this. Sometimes you see probably sunsets that sort of have a lot of orange. But today I'm just going to start off and do the sky orange. I did one other time. I did a farm, an old barn, and that came out kind of scary. But it wasn't around Halloween time that I painted the picture, but it just came out looking kind of like it would be kind of a scary barn, an old barn. And I did a couple of those, and went over pretty good. I'm going to, in this picture I have a little white area, the white of the moon, and I'm quite sure it might not be a full moon, but around the time of Halloween, but I thought I'd just put one in kind of for the picture here. I'll go down around the side here. Normally I sketch the picture light in pencil, and then I'll go back over it. Lately I've been using just a permanent marker and just going over some of my pencil drawing, just to have it show up a little bit better to paint in. It's almost like the idea of a coloring book, really. You know, you have the drawing there, and all you have to do is fill it in, you know, with color. So anyhow, I guess what's original about it is probably the subject, and I did sketch it out, you know. So the drawing part is, I guess you could call it original. And come down back here. Now I can use some of this color. I could do it have some of it reflect, you know, the moonlight reflecting and so forth. Actually do the whole thing with orange. the sky anyways, and some of the ground. So anyways, this photograph that I have is one that I took down in Missouri. And it was on a, what was back then an Indian reservation, I guess, of sort. And they called it Toka. And so I thought it was, the family that built this particular house. They were the ones that did the I said Toka, I meant Tonka toy. The Tonka idea, I thought it was a family that did Tonka toys, the trucks and all that. But that's no relative, it just happened to be more of an Indian name for the area. And it's right on the water. And it's sort of up on a high ledge. And as you look down into the water, you can see it bubbling up because it's a natural spring where the water comes out of the earth. Go right out to the edge. So we're getting some of that orange in there. Now you can put all sorts of color into this. I'm going to use a little bit of the green and a little bit of grays, different shades of gray and whatnot. Probably some of that Payne's gray. And I can go darker with this if I want. Now what I do sometimes, I use some of my sepia. It's a very dark brown. And you can take that sepia, take that color, and you can put it right into the orange, and it just kind of makes the orange a little bit. I got to get a little bit more. See, oh boy, I said a little bit, huh? That's quite a bit. Okay. We'll spread it around here, up into this upper part. I may have to go back and do a little bit more of the orange. That sepia does a pretty good job covering. Something like this could be an ominous cloud here, that kind of make that look scary. There's maybe some clouds in the sky here. Spread that around a bit. I'm going to pull that down. Take some of that down. Take some of that, bring that down into here a bit. And over here. Usually if I do an outdoor painting, I usually work from the top down. Like I'm doing here. I do the sky, and then I sometimes I do the bottom part, and let this kind of stay for last. The building, the middle area. So you have the foreground, background, and middle ground. Most outdoor painting, when you're doing a painting on location, a landscape painting, it's usually, well, I always have some foreground in there, and the middle ground, and background, and of course the sky. It's a little bit dark. I could tell everybody, it could be dark now, but when it dries out in the morning, by morning, it usually comes out a lot lighter. It will dry lighter. Now, I can put some of that down in here while I'm thinking about it. Seeing I have some of that little bit of that, there we go. Some of that color on my brush. I always start off with a big brush, so I fill in a lot of the picture in a hurry. Get some color in the larger spaces, the larger shapes. That's kind of dark. Erase that a little bit, pull it over. There we go. You see how much of that background you can get done. I think it's when you do this type of painting or any painting, I think it's good to get that some of the background colors in first, and then you can work whatever you want to do with it, with the mostly the subject. In this case, this is going to be, hopefully it's going to be something to do with the building. The trees are just secondary, and the moon and all that. Sometimes I put some rings around the moon here. Make it look kind of ominous here. It's a little bit dark in there. I may pull some of that out. Pull some of that out or spread it around. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And I'm always repeating that color somewhere else. The painting kind of unify the whole thing here. Okay. All right, now I'm going to use a smaller brush eventually here. I don't need to use a large brush too much right at the moment. I think there's a little bit of area that I can fill in down here. That a lot of blank white in there. Fill it, put some water on that. We'll put some color into that. The stone, of course, can be a lot of gray in it, maybe. But if an artist wants to, whoever's doing the picture, they can decide to do whatever they want as far as the color goes. And so I do that a lot. I don't just use one solid color. Like even on the bark of the trees, you know, in the photograph, they're like a silhouette. They're just a darker color. But when I paint, sometimes I can start off and I can use a little bit of different colors in there. This happens to be sepia. So you can put that in. Leave some area in there so if you want to introduce another color, another shade of something, you can do that. You want to make it lighter, you can pull it out too. Just wet the brush, pinch the brush out, and lift some of that color out of there. You know, you can do that. I'm just going to finish this off up in here. I'm just going to leave that a little lighter on that side for now. Maybe it's some moonlight hitting it. And we'll fill this limb out here. Kind of fill that in a little bit more. That could be a lot darker. I put a little bit of that Payne's gray on the brush. See how that works. Down this side here. Just a little bit into there for now. Now, if I want to bring out some highlight in there, you know, it's kind of a solid area, I take the brush and just lift up some of that wet paint. Take some of that out of there. Something like that. Over here, I can have that sort of the moonlight on it. Just take some of that sepia, but water it down a bit so it's sort of like a softer sort of beige color. We'll go up into here. And just a little bit, finish this off up in there. All right. I'm going to let that set for a while. And I'll probably come back and add some more color into it. There you go. Sometimes if it's too light, it looks like snow. Not quite yet. Fill this in here. I just wiggle the brush around there. Something like that, down around the base. I think I can make that much darker though. The base is probably in the most shadow there. Make that a lot darker and pull it back up. Pull this out. Sometimes I sketch it out, but sometimes I add a little bit more. When I paint it in, I add a little bit more texture or detail. You know, something like that. That's a little bit too light. Let's quiet that down. That's on the shadow side. You don't need to have that quite as noticeable there. There we go. Now, do the same thing with this tree here. I'll start off, fill that in. There are different approaches that you may have. Like now, I'm just giving this sort of a Payne's gray wash and using a smaller, it's a flat brush, but it's smaller than the other one. This one here, this is 1 inch and this is a 1/4 inch. Let's see, where were we? Right here. Okay. Go up into here, have it kind of disappear up in there, and bring this right down the side. And go out on the limb here a little bit, like that. A little bit on this one. Okay. Fill that in a bit. And maybe just out here a little bit. Yeah, kind of make it look kind of bumpy there. All right, yeah. There's a lot of little things you can do. I probably could do a little bit, well, fill this in a little bit more up in here. Make some connections there. Make sure everything's hooked up here. And let's go back into the tree a bit. Okay, now we'll let that set up a little bit. And we'll start on maybe some of the building. Now, there's different shades of color in there. I'm going to start off and I'll use my round brush. And I want to put some, well, I'll start off with the Payne's gray. But I'm going to make that a lighter color, just water that down a little bit. some of the walls here are a much lighter color, something like this. And I'm going to save some of that white in there. Just go around like it's a open area where there was a window at one time, I guess, or something in there. And we'll just fill this in with some of that gray. You can always build up your colors, you know, you start off light and then you can put another color on top of it. I'm doing a kind of this part of the wall right through here. That's a little bit dark. I don't want to get too dark too soon here. Pull this out of there. Spread it around. Maybe over here. Okay. You can wet this area too, so that when you put the paint color on, it slides around. You don't have to wiggle the brush around too much to try to fill it in. Give it a little bit of texture. There might be some light on the this side of the wall here from the moonlight. Keeps that lighter. Now sometimes if you fill in something that you want to leave open, you can always come back and hit it with some white paint. Just put a dab of white where you wanted it. Or you can blot it a little bit like that and then go over it again. Okay, let's get some of this lighter color up in this area. That was Payne's Gray watered down here. I'm just going to put in some more of this here. Off this way. This kind of goes up into the tree a little bit. Have that sort of fade away. I like the way the orange kind of blends into this. Coming down. Okay. I like that. The effect there is pretty nice. Looks good. Okay, we'll just kind of finish this off a little bit with that Payne's Gray in there. Outline the windows a little bit. And fill this in. It's going to be a little bit darker down in here anyways. Quite a bit darker down in the shadow there. Might put some green grass across there just to add a little bit more color to the picture as we go along. I'm going to leave a little white in there. Fill this in. And fill all of that in over here. And across the top. If I want to leave that lighter, I'll just pull some of the paint out of that. Yeah, like that, because it's the moonlight hitting the building. On that particular side. I'm just going to fill this in through here. Put a little bit more gray in there. And we don't need so much white. You know. Let's fill that in. Something like that. Okay. Now let's come across here. This gets quite a bit a little lighter. I can almost put a little bit of orange. Oh, I don't want it too. Just a little bit of orange up through here in this area. Do something like that. Have this lighter down here. Okay. I like the way that's coming out pretty good. And this is just a kind of a little bit of a filler into here. Pull that out. Kind of fades away in the background there. Yeah. I blend that in. And let's see what else we need. I suppose I could go, well, eventually I'm going to go a little darker in there. There's a little bit of a door there, a couple little areas, darker areas. We'll do up into here. Do some of that. Too much water on the brush. Oh, I picked that up a little bit. Pick it up with the brush. Yeah, we just come over here. Take some of that paint, pour it down into there. What I'm doing, see, you can see I'm doing the middle. This is drying up here to dry. So while that's drying out a bit, I'm going to just work through the middle. I can fill this in a little bit more. In through here. Just make that a little darker there. I can pull that out. I sometimes I like softer edges. I don't like everything to have a hard edge. It's kind of, I suppose at nighttime too, you know, you don't see things as clear. Okay, let's see if I can get some of this, soften that out there. Take some of that color, pull it in here. And we can go up here, pull this up a little bit into here. Okay. I'm going to do this part here. Keep that kind of light because of the moon hitting it. This is supposed to be stone anyway, so it's not supposed to be look real too smooth. I think I got too much on the brush that time. Oh yeah, kind of dark. Oh well, we could take that out of there, wiggle it around. Yeah, that kind of disappear off there. Yeah, a little bit. Bring this around here. Okay. And I guess we can give this a little bit of a wash going off here. Take some of that out of there. Kind of clean it up a little bit, have it fade away. It is supposed to be nighttime, so a lot of these areas, we don't have to keep them light. And just fill it in. Whatever could be in the background there, it could be houses, buildings, or whatever. Tree, maybe tree tops. Okay, this is kind of dark here. I gotta wet that down, take some of that out. That's the beauty of watercolor. Even if you let it dry, you can come back and wet it down and reactivate the paint. And there's not much out there. I just can have that fade away, I guess. Even up in here, have that fade away more. Okay. And give a little more of a background. Okay, now, see what else. And go over here. This can be dark over in the corner too. We'll pull this across a little bit more. I could take some of that too and put it down in there. Pull it across. Let's see what I can do with that. I put some green in there. That's what it is in the photograph. A lot of green in that area. Take some of that out of there. Okay, you gotta find it as you go along. Some areas that you might want to come back and touch up a little bit. I like the combination of soft and hard edges, though. You know, not make everything all soft and not have everything too hard. It's kind of a balance of that. If I need any light over there or not. Looks like somebody with a flashlight. Yeah. And we can pull that across, pull that out of there. Push it up a little bit. Dark in this corner. Okay. Come across here. I'll put a little darker, there's a little band of darker color right through here too. You put that in. We'll put it right straight down. Right through here. Yeah, gives it more of a three-dimensional look. It's not flat. something like that. Okay. Wiggle that around a little bit there. There we go. Well, I'm going to take that, wiggle that out. That's better. I can keep working around this until I get the effects. See, there's a lot of different shading in there. There's some more around like this around that opening. There's another darker area here. There's a lot you can put in. I'm going to put some of that grass in there too, a little bit band of grass. Darker in here. Just a little darker there. And I think that we can pull some of that up into here too. Wheel that out. Make that go across this a little bit more. Okay, now let's try a little bit of grass. Just happen to have a tube of some grass here. I'm going to put some of that grass, just clean the brush off here. And we're going to put a little bit of that grass right across through here. Oops, need more water on the brush here. There you go. Maybe that's not the exact shade I'm looking for. Need some more yellow in it. Let's try this. Take some of that yellow. No, it's not quite it yet either. Trying to match the color there. Probably this should be darker. We'll take some of this out. And that's going to be some moonlight hitting across that too. Okay, let's have it go over to here. I put these little markers there. It could be like little gravestones or something, just to make it a little bit bumpier, I guess. And that grass can go, actually can go up into here too. Soften it in. There you go, across there. So this gives you an idea of where we're going with it. Okay, get this brush down in between here. Let's see. Even get that a little bit darker here. Okay. I'm not really matching the color as well as I should. You have more yellow there. Mix it in with a green. Probably that's too much. Now see what happens. Pull that across there. And over a little bit over there. That's the shade I'm looking for. Yeah, something like that, just to carry it back of the tree. Okay. And, well, actually that picture doesn't have this tree in it. That was something I added to it. Fill this in down here. Go out to the edge a little bit more. Okay. So a little bit of everything in here. Got my sepia, I got the greens. Probably some of those paints of gray, whatever. I usually leave a little bit of highlight in there. It looks okay. I don't fill it in that much. Even the markers, the gravestone markers, you can leave that kind of open. Let's put a little bit more in here. I think that's a little bit too much. Pull it out. That's kind of too vibrant in here too. That's a little bit. Take some of that out of there. Pull some of that yellow into that. Go to the edge. Got a little bit of water or something to paint on here. I just pull that out of there. Have some green in the sky here. Have some green in the moon. There we go. Now this looks a little bit unfinished here, so I guess we better fill this in. It gets a little bit darker up in there. Leave a little bit of light in there. Now, a lot of times you gotta let that paint dry when you start going near another color. Yeah, I'm just kind of put a little background in there. That could be something else off in the distance. There we go. Okay, now. See where we're going here. Just a matter of a little touch-up. You can work on the texture, you know, keep going over a little bit more, whatever. It's a little bit too light in here. And quiet that down a little bit more. Started getting there. Now what I do sometimes, I just take and put some little smudges on the moon. You can use your fingers for that. Just give it a little bit of texture. I don't like that. A little bit bumpy in there. Okay, a little bit too light. Let's whiten it up again. And you can make it look a little bit more, sort of kind of the rings around the moon there. You can put some more of that in the sky. Oops, got green on my brush here. And put some more texture in that. Quiet this down maybe a little bit. So sort of getting there, you know, it's just a matter of how much you want to look at the picture and how much extra texture you want to put into it. And mostly what I would do is just darken some of the areas, kind of break it up with, oops, I don't know why. I don't want the green in that. Take some of that out of there. Yeah. All right. Got to get some of the green out of the brush here. So, whatever you want to do with this. Now, another thing too, if you want, just quiet that down in there. Yeah, take some of that down. If you want, you could add a little bit of color. You could take some of this sepia, mix it in with some yellow. Whoops. Splashing all over here. If you want, you could put some, maybe a few leaves still on the tree. I don't like that. Take that out of there. Quiet that down. Okay. I think I messed up my yellow here. You could sort of hit it, hit it with a few leaves. Probably take a little bit more of that darker color. Just add some specks on the tree. Similar to what's in this other picture I have. This one here. Probably still has a few more leaves in there. Add a few more over here. Something like that. Maybe quiet that down, too much green. If you don't like it, we take it out. Just wet it down. I'm going to take using up all of my towels here. So take a cleaner piece, take some of that out of there. Put more leaves on there, maybe. I don't know if that would help. Probably not. But this gives you an idea how you can do these pictures. Now, sometimes to make the leaves, I just use a sponge, and stipple it a little bit with a sponge. You can do that. That doesn't look too scary, though, does it? No. I think I probably should have made it a little bit darker. I can do that. Make it a little bit deeper color. Even the tree, this tree here is kind of light, so you can make that a little darker. In through here, keep one side a little bit towards the moonlight would probably be a little different. Now another thing too, I don't know if I brought one with me, but you could take some white sometimes, a tube of white. I happen not to put it in this time. I don't think I have it with me. But you could take some white and put some of the white back in there if you get carried away, too much with it. So you can always do that. And you've got too much orange in here, I just take some of that out around the moon. You just hit it with a cleaner piece of towel. And lighten it up in that area. So this kind of gives you an idea where we can go with that. I don't know if it looks too haunted or scary or anything like that, but it seems like that I could do probably a little bit more texture in here. Borrow some of my paint gray. Probably could just add a little bit more to this in here. Just make it a little bit more of a contrast there. I'm picking up, it looks like some color in it. Oh yeah, that brush has got green in it. I don't want to make it too green. Oh boy. Okay, I'm going to blot that down. And that's where white comes in. If I take some of that white I have, and or even some of the darker color, and we can just go over that. Take that green out of there. I turned the palette around. I got away from the Payne's gray. So you do something like that. If that's too noticeable, I just pull some of that out. Take some of that away. So you do different things. You can make that real dark in background. Bring that right down. Break up the contour a little bit more. That's not in there, but we'll add it. Add a little bit of something to it. There you go. Take some of that out. So anyways, that's about it for this week, and needs a little bit of touch up here and there, but gives you an idea. That area where I'm touching up and back, I got to work on that a little bit more. Probably make it look like a background, trees or something in there. But nevertheless, that's it. So brushes up, and we'll see you next week.